Should the stars ever call out to you, be wary, for their weight may be far too much to bear. Uh, Pardon me. My apologies for the interruption. I didn't mean to startle you. But, you seem to have dropped this. Yes, you're very welcome. It looked important. I must admit, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it before. A family heirloom, perhaps? Hmm, I thought as much. It is very pretty. Still, I would advise caution. Why? Well, even here in Vespiria, one would do well to be careful. Children, beggars, thieves, even the well dressed nobility. Someone is always watching and waiting for a chance to snatch something so delicate from unsuspecting hands or from around someone's pretty little neck. But don't misunderstand me. Vesperia is, to many, a place of perfection. Though, I do suppose that depends entirely on what you consider to be perfection. What do I think? I don't think perfection exists the way that people think it does. But that's not really important. The people here? Well, most are content with simple things, living day by day, baking bread, forging steel, brewing potions, tending to their herbs, studying with the academia, taking on an oath, or even chasing danger, much like adventurers do. Yes, I agree. Well, as I said, perfection is very much in the eye of the beholder. And speaking of beholders, you should have seen the poor soul who returned after facing one. Looked like he'd caught his death of fright. But he was successful. I mean, he looked pale as a sheet. It might have been his first encounter with a beholder, now that I think about it. Ghastly creatures when alive, and somehow worse when dead. Uh, Tell me, are you an adventurer? No? Hmm. Perhaps not a soldier then either? Could you be a mage? No. An apothecary? But your satchel doesn't appear to be nearly big enough for that. Uh, hmm. A mage? No, that doesn't quite fit either, does it? But if you were, you would be the most, uniquely dressed mage I've ever seen. You don't carry yourself like a paladin, nor a knight. Certainly not like a scholar. Hmm. Oh, though that is not to say you lack intelligence. No, none of those seem quite right. Ah, I see it now. Yes, you're a traveler, a wanderer, most likely. And not from Vespiria either, based on how you're dressed. Perhaps from the north? Yes. Yes, that would explain your attire entirely. So, what brings you to Vespiria? Looking for the academia? Oh, are you a scholar then? Something like that. Well then, come along. Follow me. Yes, I'm aware that your map shows you a quicker way if we go west, but we're going this way. Well, forgive me, but you don't seem to be in any particular hurry. Am I wrong to assume you'd prefer a more leisurely pace? Good. Now, come on. So, tell me, what really brings you here? Sightseeing? Visiting family? Other personal matters? Perhaps you're here to see a lover of some kind? Oh, you're really just sightseeing. Are you quite certain that's all? Or do you simply prefer to keep your secrets secret? No, no, I completely understand if that's the case. It's no matter. You wouldn't be the first. Well, people travel from far and wide to visit Vespiria, though most wait until the festival season. The lights, the food, the magic, everything that there is to offer during the festival season is just so unlike anything you'd see any other old day. It's truly something to enjoy. It's something spectacular, really. But again, people wait for the festival season to approach. Well, I suppose that festival season is not too far away. Perhaps 3, maybe 4 months from now. But even now, it's very early to start preparing for the festival if you're not some kind of vendor or tavern keep. Well, those who come early usually have a reason, but if you'd rather not say entirely, I won't press. After all, everyone has their secrets. Hmm? Do I have any? Well, doesn't everyone? Yes, I suppose that you would be quite interested to know the secret of another person, the same way that I was very, very interested to know whatever secrets you might have. Oh, wouldn't it be something to know everything? I'm joking. I wouldn't want to know everything. It takes all the fun out of life, wouldn't you say? Oh, come now. If we were meant to know everything, we would. Well, I don't think we would be mortal, that's for sure. Probably something older. Far older. Well, most likely a god or some divine being. Maybe something even older, like a primordial, though most don't talk about those. You believe many dream of becoming gods. Oh, that's that's very amusing. Oh, no, no, no. Please don't think I'm laughing at you, just at the thought itself. Well, I can't say I've ever desired such a thing. Why? Hmm. Tell me, in those grand portraits of royalty, you've seen such portraits, correct? You have. Good, good, good. Have you ever noticed how dreadfully bored they look? And if they do smile, it doesn't really reach their eyes. Like they were able to muster up the strength to smile for however long it took some grand artist to paint their portrait on a canvas. No, you have not ever noticed that. Okay. Uh, then answer me this. If you had all the gold, all the jewels, all the power you could ever desire, the mightiest of magic at your disposal, it would feel or extraordinary, wouldn't it? Hmm. And what would you do in your first days as a royal? Hmm. Mm-hmm. I see. Very lavish and indulgent, as to be expected, of course. And why shouldn't it be? To be someone royal, regal, is to be almost sickeningly rich in all luxuries, in all things. Power at your fingertips, at your beck and call. You need only say the word and you would have it. It seems like a dream come true. But tell me, after a week, a month, a year, a decade, how about a century, a millennia? Would it still feel the same? When everything is already yours, what remains to be desired? You have all the gold you could want. Anything and everything the world has to offer is yours. The world is your oyster. All you need do is say the word or snap your fingers and it will be there. No waiting, no having to have patience, none of that. Hmm? Oh, right, right. We were speaking of gods, weren't we? Let me ask you this. Yes, yes, I am aware that I am asking many questions. But I promise there is always a method to madness. Is godhood truly something of value? You seem uncertain now. Is it something of value to me? Not particularly, no. In fact, I think it sounds just about dreadful. I imagine it's very lonely being a god. Living long enough to become one, well, it seems rather sad, doesn't it? You don't think so. I suppose you'd be a very lonely god then, and maybe that's how you like it. Most who live long enough to ascend to power, well, usually there are people they have to leave behind, people whose lives don't last nearly as long. And then, as you stay the same, they would all grow and move on without you until eventually they were no longer on this plane of existence. No, I do not speak from experience. If I did, you'd be able to tell. I assure you there would be signs. Signs that even a stranger would be able to pick up on. Well, let me ask another question. What gods do you know of? Divine beings. Mm-hmm. Oh. Yes, I am familiar with that one. Well, would you like to know what they all share? Are you ready? They were not all gods. Not originally. Surprised? You certainly look it. Shouldn't be surprising. Those who seek the truth know their stories. Yes, yes, even Ere the Redeemed. He was once entirely human, a being of flesh who rose to something more. His story is well told here in Vespiria, but I assume that it may be lost to others from outside of our walls. My dear traveler, given enough time, enough power, enough life, one can become nearly anything, even a god. Hmm? You want to hear the story? The full story? I'm afraid that would have to wait. Stories like that deserve time. And today, I don't think I have nearly enough time to tell it properly. Where could you hear the story? If I had to say, I would suggest going to Golden Hour. It's a lovely tavern. There's always a bard performing there, and many know the story of Ere the Redeemed as well as many others. Why, just this morning, I was there, and there was a bard telling a wondrous tale of a band of heroes, the likes of which you might still be able to see today, those who are left. Well, fate has a very interesting way of ensuring that many remember your tale. Do I think fate has something to do with everything? I suppose I would say so. I don't think anything happens for no reason. Well, I'm not saying that everything is predetermined, but I am saying that certain things happen the way that they are supposed to. I like to think of it as something of a tree. Little seeds being planted here and there, and eventually those seeds will grow into wondrous trees with branches and branches that expand outward, that grow new leaves, grow fruit, the potential for new seeds to be planted. You say that, but I have seen fate work in mysterious ways. An example? Well, yes, I do. Do I know anyone who has become more? Well, I suppose that I do, but it wasn't anyone who became a god. Well, it's a story you've probably heard. Hmm? You wish to hear the full story? I don't think I have quite enough time for that story. But I can say that it had entirely everything to do with fate. At least that's what many people say. Well, yes. I'm a firm believer that things don't happen for no reason. I'll have you know there are many stories of that exact statement being proven true. You want to hear one? Well, Several years ago, there was a band of adventurers who went on to save a kingdom. Ah, so you do know this story. Well, you're aware of the dwarf in that story, yes? Well, are you aware that this dwarf was not always one for adventure? No, he certainly was not. In fact, he lived a fairly repetitive life. He woke up, had his porridge exactly the same way he always did, before he began smithing weapons of all kinds. Well, one day he ran out, and rather than choose to miss a meal, he decided that he would venture out to the nearest tavern to find something for breakfast. As he sat there eating, there was another group also in that tavern. And when they saw the dwarf, they immediately came up to him, asking that he join them on their adventure, as it's always good to know a good dwarf. Yes, yes. The very band of adventurers who would go on to slay the ascended vampire who was plaguing the land. Well, had it not been for that dwarf veering from his usual path, I don't think he would have ever met that group, and I don't know that that group would have been successful. In fact, I think they would have ended up just as every other group did by that point, which is a very early end. But this dwarf joined them, and through this group they brought peace to a land and vanquished a great evil. Fate has a very interesting way of working itself out. In fact, I'm very certain that I met you today for a reason. What might that reason be? Well, I'm not quite sure. Perhaps it was simply to lead you here. You hadn't noticed? We've reached our destination. This is the Grand Academia. Mm-hmm. You still think that it's a coincidence? Perhaps it is. Perhaps it's not. I suppose we might never know. But this is where we part ways, I'm afraid. I hope that you... is everything all right? You seem troubled. Are you missing something? Your pendant. I thought you might notice eventually. Here you are, your pendant. I noticed it slipped off you as we were walking. Okay, so I may have slipped it off you. Consider it a lesson. You must always be aware of your surroundings, especially when carrying something precious. As I said, even in a place as perfect as this, you never know what might happen. And just to be safe, here. Now, try not to lose it again, and try not to allow someone to take it. What did I do? Just a simple enchantment. You shouldn't lose it now. The only way you could lose it is if, well, you encounter someone with magic stronger than mine. So for both our sakes, let's hope that doesn't happen. Whatever has brought you here, traveler, I hope that it doesn't bring you too much trouble. Yes, yes. Until next time, if there is a next time. And whatever it is you're seeking,
Good luck.